Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's stream, it's a special stream. It's not a deadline today, right? Those of you who are still on your international break, enjoy your weekend off. But yeah, I'm on a wild card for game week 8. I've been tinkering for the past week or so already, and there's one more week to go. And yeah, I've kind of already made a couple of drafts, of course, and just wanted to share how my team looks like at this point. What's on the screen right now is not confirmed. This is just a temporary draft. I will be making some changes on stream as well as we go along, talking through some of my decisions and also obviously rating your drafts as well, which is obviously the thumbnail of today's stream. So, yeah, again, it's not a deadline for those of you who aren't aware. And yeah, let me just start off with talking through a couple of decisions in the draft first. But let me just say hi to those of you in the chat already. Henry, nice to see you in the chat. Nice and early as always. Let me just get the stream out on the socials as well before we get started. Lots of drafts to rate today because a lot of you guys have sent it into the group chat. Excuse me. So for those of you who haven't done so, and you want me to have a look at your draft, just send it into the group chat and we will have a look. Okay. Let me just make sure everything is set up nicely. Nice to see some of you guys in the chat, even though it's not a deadline today. Henry, Arunab as well. Should I keep Gyökeres for your wild card? I wouldn't have Gyökeres in my team if I was on a wild card. Okay, let me just start off by talking through my team while we wait for more people to stream in. So let me also make some changes because this is not my latest draft. I have a couple of changes I'd like to make here. So one of it is Calvert-Lewin in here. I know what people think of Calvert-Lewin. Paqueta would come in for Xhaka as well. And Dan Burn, yes, correct. So for now, this is exactly how my team looks like, right? In terms of what I plan to go with. And yeah, there's obviously a couple of decisions to be made here. So I'll talk through it with some of you guys. So I'll start off with the goalkeepers. I don't think I'll be changing from Nick Pope and Dubravka. I don't think I will go for Raya. I don't think he's worth the money. By the way, if you guys have any questions as well, while the stream is ongoing, just drop it in the chat. But yeah, I don't think I would go for Raya as a keeper, even though a lot of people on game week 6 wildcards had David Raya. I'm not so keen on that because he's quite expensive now. So I am likely going to go with Nick Pope. I mean, we saw that Newcastle's defensive data is still very, very good. And quite close in terms of XG conceded across the whole season to Arsenal as well. So Nick Pope is likely going to be my keeper. It saves me a good 0.6 million as well. And then Dubravka here. So for a brief moment in time while I was tinkering, I did have the Liverpool 4.3 million goalkeeper. I think it's called I think his name is Mama Dashvi. So basically I had him in my draft for a while, 4.3 million, because if I intend to wildcard in if I intend to bench boost in game week 9, which is currently the plan, I don't mind having a Liverpool goalkeeper in my team on the bench. So that's also in my thinking. But I've gone back to Dubravka because I have looked forward. I will be recording an updated wildcard video, but I have looked forward into the next few game weeks, and I think having that extra 0.3 million in the bank is going to be crucial for me. So that's kind of the reason why I haven't, I took him out and gone with Dubravka again. In defense, it's Timber Gabriel, still the same. Right? And then Senesi is still going to be in the team. I think the fixtures from game week 8 to game week 12 is not exactly very good for Senesi, but after that I will want him. So he pretty much saves me a transfer down the line. And also when I bench boost in game week 9, he has Nottingham Forest. So I think that's an alright fixture for him too. Very good for defensive contributions. Rodon is here, 4.0 million bench fodder, but he plays West Ham in game week 9. And you know how West Ham defend corners, and Rodon is really good for set piece threat, right? So Rodon is here. Dan Burn, so it's this 5.1 million spot could very well be someone like a Chalobah. I haven't decided on this spot yet. I do even have enough money to go from Dan Burn to Cucurella as well if I wish to go there. So still thinking about that transfer spot, but at least for the time being, it's Dan Burn. Let me just look at my drafts, and I think going forward into game week 13, going forward into game week 13, I would likely be selling Dan Burn. Let me just have a look. Yeah, so I'll likely be selling Dan Burn. So I could actually afford something like a Cucurella even. I do have a bit of cash in the bank. I have 1.1 million in the bank now, so I can actually go for someone like Cucurella instead of Dan Burn for these 2 weeks, right? Chelsea will have Forest in game week 8 and then Sunderland in game week 9, so I could go there. It's an option for me. Yeah, so we'll see. Right, but basically as it stands, this is the team. Right, and then up front, obviously, I mean, the midfield is pretty template. I've just chosen to go for Paqueta because I have extra cash to have a better player on the bench when I bench boost in game week 9. Then up front, Haaland. Bowen has been in the team for a while. I think it's worth going for a slightly differential forward when most of the forwards aren't firing right now. I do think whether I should include João Pedro as well, but we'll see about it. And then Calvert-Lewin is in here as a bit of an enabler, but he does have West Ham in game week 9. He also in game week 8 has Burnley, so I don't mind taking a chance on him. So that's the game week 8 wildcard. All right, let me have a look at the chat right now. So Henry says, should I keep Gyökeres? Yeah, I don't think I would have Gyökeres on the wild card. I much prefer Saka, and I think he's in great form right now. Josh says, transfer Gyökeres for Bowen or Voltemada or keep him. I think you could give Gyökeres a few games. I don't think if you brought him in, in game week 7, for example, that you transfer him out so quickly. So I would say keep. Patrick says, can you rate teams that is not on the wildcard with the FPL ID? You could drop it in the group chat as well. Whatever your team screenshot is, you can drop it in. Today, I think we will have quite a bit of time, so you can just drop it in the chat and I will have a look. John says, hey Chai. Yeah, FPL Chai is not on this channel, but we may do a collab soon actually. I'm in talks with him as well. But yeah, I've not used the wildcard this week. Who should I buy for Rodgers and Watkins? Any suggestions? I think up front, right, fixtures wise, the best one is still Chelsea with a very, very good run for a good number of game weeks. 6 to 7 game weeks, it's pretty much great fixtures for João Pedro if you want to go there. But he's not a super exciting pick right now. So I don't think people go out and buy him. I think Bowen is an exciting pick. Mateta probably, but I'm not super keen on Mateta after he's missed so many big chances as well. And yeah, I mean, Rodgers in midfield, you could go to Ismail Assar, you could go Enzo Fernandez. I think that's a great option as well. Henry says, send a photo. Yes, we'll have a look at the group chat in a bit. Bongo says, Pedro or 4 at the back with Gabriel. I actually don't mind 4 at the back, I for a brief moment in time, tinkered with a draft 4 at the back as well. I think it could be a bit of the meta moving forward. I think it could be. Which players are locked in for you? I'm on a wild card too. So in terms of locked in players, I'll say Nick Pope is I don't think I will go Raya. So Nick Pope for me is one of those keepers that I think I'll just set and forget here. So Nick Pope, Gabriel and Timber have been quite fixed as well because I do want double Arsenal defense over double Arsenal attack. I think if I go double Arsenal attack, I did have at some point in time I did have Saka and Eze. Eze mainly because Odegaard is out injured, so Eze would likely be filling in that spot. But I do think that a defender, whether it's Gabriel or Raya, could outscore Eze. So I prefer to go for the defender. And in this case, I mean, it's Timber. I think Timber has great attacking threat as well. So I don't mind Timber over Eze. And yeah, in terms of other locked-in players as well, I would say Saka, pretty much locked. Semenyo is also very locked. Enzo Fernandez, given that Cole Palmer is only returning in... I won't say Enzo Fernandez is a definite lock, but I'm quite keen on Enzo Fernandez because Cole Palmer is going to be out for quite a while. So I'm quite keen on Enzo. Haaland is also a lock. And then, yeah, Bowen and Calvert-Lewin aren't locks. So I'd say, in terms of locks, Pope, double Arsenal defense, Saka, Semenyo, and Haaland, these are locks. The rest of the players, I think it's subject to, whatever happens after the international break as well. We'll have a look. All right, so I'm going to go over to the group chat now. Okay, so there's lots of drafts to go through. If you aren't in there already, you can either click the link that's in the chat. I've dropped a pinned comment. You can click that link to join, or you can also scan the QR code that's on screen right now. And yeah. Right, so by the way, the screen that you saw just now, we are very close to hitting, let me just put it up on screen. So we are actually very, very close to hitting 12,000 subscribers. You see on screen that we are actually 15 subscribers away. So there is a chance that we hit it on stream today, hopefully. So I have prepared the live update here that if it happens, I mean, we'll see what happens, but if it does, then that would be incredible for today. All right, so I'll go back to the chat. And let me just start rating the drafts, all right? So I'm going to start all the way. I mean, people have been sending in drafts for a really long time already because I've been asking for drafts since Thursday, I think. All right, so I'm going to have a look right now. So I think I will start on... Let me just make sure that we capture, most of the drafts. Okay, we'll start here. 8 October, which is today's 11th, so 3 days ago. We'll start here. All right, so Wildcard active. Want to play bench boost in game week 10. We'll probably buy Kudus or Njai for Minte when the fixtures turn good. So this draft here, Munoz, Rodon and Gabriel. I think Munoz on a wild card is interesting. I think the reason why I haven't considered him is because I'm quite keen on bench boost in game week 9, in which case then Arsenal will be playing Crystal Palace and I wouldn't want to bench boost with a team that has Munoz on the bench, for example, playing Arsenal. But if you, for example, have already used your bench boost, then obviously it's different. I think you could put Munoz in your team. I don't mind it. Midfield is Saka, Enzo, Semenyo. I think it's pretty template, which I think there is good reason why it is template. I have no issue with that. Up front, it's Haaland, João Pedro, and Thiago. I don't mind the João Pedro pick. I mean, even though it's not doing well, the fixtures are there for Chelsea. Thiago, again, I don't mind it, but I think I don't mind gambling on someone like Calvert-Lewin. So I can see why you would go with Thiago. I mean, West Ham, Brentford's fixtures are all right. But yeah, I think if it's between Thiago and Calvert-Lewin, I would lean towards Calvert-Lewin. So Mama Dashvi is interesting because, again, as I say, he will be playing until Alisson comes back. So again, right, I did have him in the draft for a while, but I decided to take the cost saving because in game week 13, I'll be making a bunch of transfers and I'll need cash for that. So Fair enough, though. I don't mind him as a pick. Senesi on the bench, Minte and Anderson. Yeah, they on the bench, they're all right players. I mean, Minte, you did mention as well that you will be taking him out for Njai, Kudus later down the line when the fixtures are good. Again, don't mind that as well. So I think the good thing right now is that there are quite a number of cheap players that you could go for, because a lot of the premium, for example, midfielders like Salah, uh, Palmer, for example, people aren't going for them now. It's simply because they cost a lot and they don't return too much. I mean, Palmer is injured as well. Right? Then Bruno Fernandes, nobody really wants to go there as well. So I think right now there is pretty much there's pretty much good reason to go with lots of cheap midfielders, lots of cheaper forwards as well. Have a Haaland in your team, and then spread the funds elsewhere. You will probably have to look at how to bring those premiums back though. Okay, so I'll focus on wildcards first. Game week 8 wildcard team. All right, so Donnarumma, interesting. Gabriel and Timber, I don't mind. Vardiol and Burn as well. This could be a Manchester City fan. All right. Sorry, give me a moment. Let me just switch it back here. Okay. So looking at this team, wildcard team, I think it's a bit heavy on Manchester City, if I'm honest. I don't think I would be going double Man City defense. And 5.6 for Donnarumma is quite expensive. I think their fixtures from game week, I mean, Everton is all right. Next few, it will be pretty tricky. I mean, Aston Villa is also okay, but Bournemouth, I think after that, it's not easy. They will also play one of the bigger teams in, I think, game week 11 or game week 12, that kind of a period. So I think really game week 13 onwards is when I'd be looking to load up on City assets, not now. So you probably could lose one of your City defensive assets. Up front, Haaland is fine. In midfield, you've gone for Caicedo, which I actually really don't mind as well. I think it's an interesting prospect to go for Caicedo against Sunderland. I am actually thinking about it as well. But what it does for my team, I guess, is if I do go for Chalba as my defender and also have Enzo in midfield, then if I go for Caicedo as well, it pretty much triples up on Chelsea already, and I wouldn't have that third spot to go for João Pedro if I want to. So I am a bit aware of that. But yeah, I don't mind Enzo and Caicedo. I mean, Caicedo has been playing pretty well. For 5.7 million, his points to value ratio is really good. Then up front, Dubravka, João Pedro, Senesi. So with your 4.3 forward spot, it looks as if you don't have your bench boost. So for those who aren't on bench boost or aren't bench boosting later down the line after you wild card, I don't mind having a dead spot for your forward because it just takes all the money out. And yeah, you can use it for better use. I probably would do that as well. If I was not on a bench boost, I would pretty much just go for a really cheap last forward, 4.3, like a Mark Guiu as well. All right. I'll focus on wild cards first. It's a chip being played here. So this is a bench boost. This is interesting. Bench boost for game week 8. I think bench boosting in game week 8 has, its advantages as well. If I wasn't on a wild card, I would actually strongly consider if your bench looks good. There will be some teams with good benches because this is a week where Sunderland play Wolves and then Burnley play Leeds as well. So you don't mind playing like a Xhaka on the bench. You don't mind having a Dubravka against Leeds. It works. So this team is interesting. Quite some rogue picks like Zubimendi, for example, Xavi Simons. I brought Javi Simmons in. He was pretty disappointing for the 2 weeks that I brought him in. If I had brought Kudus instead, I'd be sitting on a bit more points, of course. So wildcard squad: Pope, Alderete, Gabriel, Van de Ven, Semenyo, Sa, Caicedo, Saka, Voltemata, Gyökeres, Haaland. So triple Arsenal in double Arsenal attack. Then on the bench, it's Reinders, Diouf, Richards, Dubravka. I actually don't mind the squad. The only thing about it for me is probably Van de Ven. I mean, I don't think I'll go for Van de Ven in that spot. I don't think Spurs' defensive fixtures are good enough to warrant, a 4.5 million defender spot in Van de Ven. And his DEFCON stats are also not the best as well. So that's the only issue for me. I think the rest of the picks I can kind of justify. Even Diouf as well. Even Diouf, West Ham have really good fixtures over the next few. It's good attacking threat as well. Okay, next wild card. So Petrovic and Nick Pope. This one looks like it's going to bench boost pretty soon. I think the main issue with this team immediately that I see is that all your money is spread around, and you probably will have a bit of a benching headache every other week. So it looks like this team is going to bench Bruce like really soon, game week 9, 10, 11. But then after that, you will probably struggle to bring the funds back. If you want to, for example, go for, I don't know, a Salah potentially in game week 13, then you would have to bring all the funds back, make many transfers to drop, for example, Van de Ven to a 4.0, to drop Thiago down to a 4.3, maybe a Caicedo down to a 5.0. So lots of transfers that you have to make just to free up funds to go up to someone like Salah if you wish to. So that's the only issue with this one, because you've spread all the funds around already. Okay, potential wild card. By the way, if there's any questions, please just drop it in the chat. Let me just have a look at the chat. Yeah, all right. Okay, so I'll get back to the chat in a while. Okay, so this potential wild card. By the way, I'll be streaming until I guess for another 45 minutes or so. So if you haven't done so, just drop your draft in the group chat. Okay. Let's have a look. Yep. So Pope and Dubravka, fine with that. Gabriel, Senesi, Timber, Vardiol, Rodon. I think similar things that I spot about this draft, where your funds are quite spread around. You do have at least Rodon at 4.0. You have Foster as well up front. This looks like a team that would be bench boosting in either game week 9 or game week 10. I don't mind it. But Vardy, though, again, as I say, I'm not super keen on Man City's fixtures for the next few. That I think it warrants, going for someone as expensive as Rodon. Vardy. What am I saying? So wildcard active again. Dubravka. Pope on the bench. That's interesting. Preferring Dubravka against Leeds. Timber, Gabriel Munoz, Semenyo, Saka, Sarr and Paqueta, João Pedro, Mateta, and Haaland. Bench looks fine. So this is pretty similar to my own wildcard, and I think going for João Pedro is fine. Mateta is just a pick that I don't know whether he will continue to deliver. I mean, he doesn't look in superb form right now. He's been pretty much missing lots of big chances. He does have the big chances, but he's been missing. He's been missing those big chances. Okay. Wildcard. Oh, sorry. Wildcard played in game week 4. Current wildcard for game week 8. Pope, Gabriel, Senesi, Chalobah. I do like the Chalobah pick, to be honest. I do like the Chalobah pick. Semenyo, Sa, Saka, Enzo. Up front, it's Bowen, Haaland, Jalpe. I have no issues with this draft. I really like this. Game week 8 wildcard. Mentioned this as well. I think we've seen this one. Just the Van de Ven pick that I don't think I would go for. Raya, Dubravka. So this is triple Arsenal defense. I think I'd have Saka. See, and you have lots of money left in the bank as well. 2.2 for this draft. So I think I'd have Saka. Have a bit of money more in midfield, a bit more money in midfield, because if, for example, you wish to go for Salah down the line, Saka to Salah is much easier than trying to pull funds out of everywhere else that you've spread the money already. Njai. So your midfield is all mid-price midfielders. I just foresee that down the line, you may have some issue if you want to go for more expensive midfielders. All it takes is just Salah to score 2 goals in one game, and then the following week he scores 1 goal again, and then maybe both weeks he mops up all 3 bonus points. All it takes is that, and then you'll suddenly want Salah again. So I do think that you should have a bit more funds in the midfield in someone like Saka. For this draft, yeah, I think similar comments where all the money is spread out. I think one of the dangers of being on a wild card and just spreading your money all around is just structurally in the future you may have some issues. Like, it's not a case where if you have extra money that you must use all of it. I think keeping it in the bank is always an option. And also the price points that you nail in your wild card is also very important. Pope, Gabriel, Timber, Mukele, Saka, Semenyo, Enzo, Kudus. I've seen Kudus on a couple of wild cards. I feel like that may be a bit of knee-jerk to the goal that he just scored, as well as the assist as well in game week 7. I feel like it could be a bit of knee-jerk because I don't think Spurs fixtures are actually very good from game week 8 onwards. Yeah, the rest of the picks I have no issue with. I will go for Dubravka though, as your substitute keeper. Wild card. A very, very strong team. This is again a very, very strong team. I do like it actually. Yeah, I have no issues with this team. It looks good. Wildcard team from Look At You. I think so. Ropes and Pope, both of them are the highest scoring goalkeepers so far. I do like them, right? I do like them as picks, but the fact is that you're spending almost 9.7 million on 2 goalkeepers. So I would just, take money out of there. I just put Dubravka. Richards, Timber, Cucurella, Senesi, and Calafiori. I think similar comments in that. See, I think the trend right now is that there's not a lot of expensive players that appeal, right, to the masses. A lot of the cheaper picks are the ones that are getting the attention right now. But again, as I say, like once the expensive picks start to pick up, like as I said, Salah, for example, or maybe even Isak up front, then you will have to find ways to transfer out some of these players, downgrade them, get funds to then upgrade, for those positions that you want the more expensive players. So I just think I would have a look at future plans and then see whether you will need the money, right? You don't necessarily have to spend all of it. Okay. Looking out again for wild card drafts. Pope, Timber, Gabriel, Senesi, Semenyo, Sa, Caicedo, Gordon, and Saka. Gordon is an interesting pick, I would say. I still think he's on penalties ahead of Ultimata when he's on the pitch. João Pedro, Haaland. Yeah, no issue with the rest of the squad. Let me just check the chat. 64 of you guys already. If you haven't done so, please drop a like on the stream and also subscribe if you haven't already. We might hit 12,000 subscribers today. We might. Okay. Opinions on selling Pickford and Anderson to Burn and Pope or Royce, and then I can bench boost for game week 8. I think to Burn and Pope to bench boost for game week 8, I think that could work. Patrick says, is it too much to go with 2 West Ham attackers with the manager being more defensive minded? Yeah, I think there is a bit of that in the back of my mind. That is also a good point, but I do think that there will be goals though for West Ham. I do think there will be goals. I mean, as much as Nuno is a defensive-minded manager, we have seen Nottingham Forest still score goals as well, right? And Bowen, I think I'm fine to just... I mean, the quality that he has, we know. Paqueta is just on penalties. So if anything happens, I mean, there's a chance. So for now, that is the 2 West Ham attackers. But I think there is a good point that you make there. It is at the back of my mind. I mean, if I don't go for Paqueta, I could go for like a Caicedo. That works as well. DM McDonald says, already used the wildcard a couple of weeks ago, going with Burn, Pope, Guehi, Gabriel, Salah, Enzo, Semenyo, Eze, Mateta, João Pedro, Gyökeres, got Pedro Porro and Gudmundsson on the bench. Should they be in? Not necessarily. I think your team is good as is. I think your starting 11 is good as is. Amazing Johnny says, bench looks good for a bench boost except for Giyu. You reckon Salah to Saka and Giyu to Bowen on a hit while bench boosting is a good play? I don't mind it. Because those moves look good for the next few game weeks. So that's the justification for the hit. And then if it makes your bench look good as well, then why not bench boost? So it works. Good to see you live, though you missed the Premier League for this week. Yeah. So this week there is no Premier League, but at least we are streaming today to have a look at a couple of wildcard drafts. So let me go back to looking at some of your wild cards. If you have any comments for each other as well on your own drafts that you see, feel free to just help each other out. I mean, my opinion is just one of the many. All right, so help each other out, and maybe you missed something that someone else would have mentioned to you. That's the point of the group chat as well, like for all of us to play FPL together. So game week 8, Pope, Richards, Gabriel. Midfield is Paqueta, Sa, Semenyo, Saka. Up front, it's Gyökeres, Pedro, Haaland. Again, I mean, if you want to go for double Arsenal attack, I wouldn't put you off it. It's just not something I would do. I wouldn't have double Fulham as well. You have King and Anderson here. I wouldn't have double Fulham. Yeah, this is the same squad that we looked at just now. I'm not necessarily keen on Everton's fixtures, especially in game week 8. They have Man City. Wildcard team: Pope, Timber, Gabriel, Cucurella, and Burn. I actually like the Cucurella pick. I think the danger of tripling up on Chelsea like this, Cucurella, Enzo, and Caicedo, is that you would not be able to go for João Pedro in one move. You probably have to sell one of these Chelsea assets. So something to think about. If not, again, the rest of your picks are pretty much fine. I also see that you have Obi here as the 4.3 forward. It tells me that you're not bench boosting in the next few. So I think that's okay. Again, looking out for wildcard teams. This is a wildcard team. Yep. Donnarumma again. I mean, I feel like Man City goalkeeper in Donnarumma is a bit too expensive. Munoz, Gabriel, Saka. So the midfield's fine. Forward's fine as well. Anderson just does not have super good fixtures. I think you can look to bring Anderson in sometime in Game Week 12, Game Week 13. So at least you could start with someone else in this spot. And it seems like you have money for Dan Burn, so why not go for Dan Burn instead of Anderson? Mark Guiu as a 4 point. I wouldn't go for Mark Guiu because I think if you want to triple up on Chelsea, then Mark Guiu does take up a Chelsea spot. So may as well go for an OB like everyone else is doing. Wildcard. So lots of wildcard drafts today. I love that. If you haven't done so, drop your wildcard draft in the chat. Yeah, so I think we've seen this one already. It's similar. I think it's Henry. Right, so Henry says A or B. A is the one with well, what are the main differences for this one? Oh, Alderete, and we've gone for Senesi here instead, and then Giyu. I think I prefer this one. I prefer B. I think this is B. Prefer this one. Thoughts out of 10. So this one does look like a team that is, carried forward from the past few game weeks. I mean, I just think like, okay, so firstly, Declan Rice. I mean, if he's yellow flagged, you could sell him and then bring Bruno Fernandes up to Saka. That's probably what I do. I don't think you would want Salah now though. This one says 1 to 2 verts to Saka and Watkins to Evan Nielsen or Strand Larson. Verts to Saka and Watkins to Evan Nielsen. I think I'm more keen to do Watkins to Bowen. Just try to take a chance. Wildcard 8. Finally did my wedding, by the way, a month ago. Congratulations to you. Congratulations, Levi. So this is your wildcard. Roves, Gabriel, Senesi, and Burn. Foden, Semenyo. My neck is straining a little bit. Gabriel, Senesi, Burn. Foden, Semenyo, Caicedo, Saka. I'm okay with the midfield, even though I prefer Enzo in this spot. Up front, it's fine. On the bench, I don't think I go for Dewsbury Hall. I think Xhaka is the 5.0 million midfielder I will go for if you have him. And I actually try to start Timber. I think Arsenal defenders are too good to bench. So maybe you could, bench Senesi and start Timber. I'd probably do that. Making a team for bench boost in game week 10. Any suggestions? I mean, I look at this team and I think, again, the funds are quite spread out. So the danger, again, as I've said, is just going for the more expensive players later down the line. But at least you have Saka, so you can access Salah a little bit easier. I'm okay with that. Mamar Dashvi is an okay pick. Yeah, I can understand. I mean, I'll probably give this like a 7. I'd say this is probably a 7. Play the wildcard already. Okay, we're looking out for wildcard drafts again. Let me just make sure that I don't miss out any wildcard drafts. Did I take a look at this one? Yeah, I did. This is a wildcard draft. Pope Dubravka, Timber, Gabriel, Munoz, Senesi, Burn. Yeah, so I think again this team is just lots of money all around. I think the picks in and of themselves are great, right? A lot of the mid-price midfielders that you have chosen are all a lot of the mid-priced players that you've chosen are all picks that are getting a lot of attention right now. But once you start to go for the more expensive players, I think we need to try and bring funds. So I'd be wary of it. I probably will still have like a 4.0 million defender. And up front you have, Calvert Lewin is okay at 5.5. The midfield, you're 5.6 in Reinders, that's okay. I probably just think further down the line you will want funds out of that fifth defender. You can't really play all of these players one shot as well. So at some weeks you'll be benching such an expensive defender that I don't think there's reason for that. Thoughts on this wild card? Attack looks too strong, but setting up for bench boost 10, debating who to bench also this week. So I think for those of you who are bench boosting in game week 10, yeah, that's for me. I think that's why you have Anderson. But in game week 10 as well, say you go for Burnley, they'll be playing Arsenal. So I don't think you would have your bench keeper being someone like Dubravka. That's one. Having a look at bench boost 10 now, I can see the appeal. Sunderland has Everton. That's okay. You're mainly attacking, for game week 10, you're mainly attacking the Fulham versus Wolves fixture is what I see. Sunderland versus Everton, I think that's okay. But yeah, you see, if you bench boost in game week 10 with this draft, Dubravka is playing Arsenal in game week 10. So that's again not super ideal. That's also why I'm thinking of bench boost 9 instead, because bench boost 9 means that Dubravka will be playing Wolves in 9. But yeah, I can see the appeal for that though. That's just something you have to think about. Okay, let me go over to this next chat. So again, lots of drafts. Okay, so I've already seen these few. Pope, Dubravka, Gabriel, Chalobah, Richards, Variol. Okay, so this is probably a team that does not need to bench boost. I don't mind Eze as a pick. Again, I don't mind Eze as a pick. I would still probably have some form of an Arsenal triple up. I think they're playing too well right now. Ballard at 4.6. I don't think I'd go there. I think I'd have Alderete in this spot. If not, I think the rest of your picks are alright. Yes, answered the A and B already. I've seen this draft. Yeah. Let me just make sure that I haven't missed out any. So Raya, Petrovic, Senesi, Gabriel, Munoz, Mukele, and also Rodon, Saka, Kudus, Anthony, Semenyo, and Sa. I think my thoughts on Jadon Anthony is that I really don't think he's going to be able to keep up the performances that he's had so far. So I'm not so sure I would go for Jadon Anthony. Up front, I think the players are fine. Haaland, Bowen, Voltemade. The only thing I look at is your Sunderland and your Leeds defender, both at 4.0 million. And you also have only 0.2 million in the bench. So your defense is pretty thin, right? Two of those 4.0 million defenders, I probably wouldn't do that. So what I do is drop Jadon Anthony down to a 5.0, for example, and then go for a 4.5 defender, either for Rodon or Mukele. So that's what I do. And yeah, I think that's pretty much. So if there's any more drafts, I think I've gone through as many drafts as I can already. So if there's any drafts that I've missed out, just feel free to drop it in the chat. If not, let me get to all the questions in the chat before we call it a day in about 15 minutes or so. in about 15 minutes or so. All right. Toby, nice to see you in the chat. It's just so bored without without FPL. I know what you mean. We're having the international break as well. Next season, they are going to link all the international breaks together. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Right, football is just changing so quickly. Jack says, would you do Salah to Saka? Not this week. I think Salah against United. I mean, you always know what United, or what Salah does against United. Okay, so now I can have a look at the teams that aren't wildcards, but I've asked to rate as well. So Warsame says, can you rate my team? Sent it in, not a wildcard, but would highly appreciate it. Yeah, of course. So let's have a look at the teams that aren't on wildcards. All right. So for those not on a wildcard, I think this is pretty much all wildcard teams. So I'll go back to this one now, and we'll start again on 8th October. And this time I'm going to look out for non-wildcard squads and try to answer those questions. I don't think we have that many, but I'll have a look. Game week 8, what's your opinion? For this team, what would I do? I probably start Senesi ahead of Van der Ven and Burn ahead of Cullen, because I don't think Cullen is that good of a pick. So yeah, I'll start Burn and Senesi ahead of Van der Ven and Cullen. That's for this draft. I agree, no changes needed though for that team. What changes would you make? I think you can roll. This team is a roll for me. Okay, wildcard teams. This is not a wildcard team. You guys probably not gonna like it, but I think a lot of teams for game week 8 are pretty much rolls, because this is a week where you could even start like a Rodon who's on the bench right now and just roll your transfer. Game week 8, for those of you guys who aren't on wildcards, is going to be pretty much a roll game week. Team for game week 8, should I start the Everton boys? I think you could start Njai ahead of Xhaka, just in case there's a pen. But if not, I think I would go with exactly as you've done so. Yep. This is a bench boost. Vicario, Xhaka, Senesi, Welbeck. I don't mind it. I don't mind that bit of a bench. This is a wild card. Wild card. Without the wild card, okay. 1.2 in the bank. Thinking of playing the wild card, but I would like to give Salah one last week. So 2 in the front. All your midfielders can be played. 3 at the back. Yeah, I think this is again a roll. This is a roll. Current team. Front line looks fine. Saka, Semenyo, Kudus, Minte. Yeah, again, a roll. I mean, a lot of the teams that we're going to look at for game week 8, where you're not on a wild card, is pretty much a roll. It's pretty much a roll. Okay, looked at most of the teams already. Any suggestions? 1 free transfer, 1.5 million in the bank. Yeah, I mean, this is again a roll. I mean, you look on the bench as well. You could even argue that you start Senesi. No money in the bank, 3 free transfers, need advice for bench boost in game week 8. Okay, so this is slightly different. You are intending to bench boost in game week 8, but I don't think your team is, even with 3 free transfers, I don't think your team can get to a bench that I think is worth bench boosting, because you have Njai and Tarkovsky already playing Man City. You have Van der Ven, who I think is not great for DEFCON. Anderson, but he plays Chelsea. I think this team needs more transfers if you want to bench boost, and it also doesn't really make sense just to make transfers so that your bench looks good enough to play the bench boost. So I probably save the bench boost for another week. And also, then you could roll as well. Okay, again, wildcard teams, wildcard teams, wildcard teams. This is not a wildcard team. Wanted to divert Sasaka. Oh, I've answered this just now, actually. Okay. Oh, there's a couple more drafts coming in. Feel free to send them in. Dan says, thoughts on this wild card? Pope Dubravka, I think that's okay. I think it looks pretty good. And I think you are also intending to potentially bench boost in game week 10. It looks like it because you have King against Wolves in game week 10. I think it could work out. Just Rodon and Mukele as both 4.0 million defenders. I think down the line, once you finish bench boosting, you probably want to upgrade one of them to 4.5s, to a 4.5 million defender. If you have more money in the bank as well and you can afford that, then probably that's what I do. If not, I can understand why you've done so that you can afford the rest of the squad. I don't mind it. This looks like a good team. Rating this team. Triple captain against Everton. Haaland, I don't think I would do that. This is a pretty rogue team, I would say. I would try to get more, if you have more transfers, I would try to get more Arsenal. I think lacks a bit of Arsenal players. And potentially, I mean, Pedro Porro against Aston Villa. I mean, you could look to ship Pedro Porro out to fund some moves as well. If not, I think Ilanga against Brighton, but he's not really starting right now. I would start Strand Larsen against Sunderland for sure. So yeah, I would try to bring in some Arsenal assets for this team. Okay, let me just make sure. Okay, I have a look at this already. And yes, okay. So let me know. Again, I will be online for sure. In the chat as always. So obviously feel free to help each other out as well, right? I will be in the chat, but it's basically for everyone to seek advice, share your opinions and everything. So if you've seen any drafts in there that you just want to share your thoughts, feel free to do so. Okay. I think that's probably it. Let me just have a last look at the chat. Would you do Salah to Saka? Again, I think probably not this week. Tempted to go start Dubravka over Pope this week. Not exactly, because I would probably start Calvert-Lewin. Bongo Bongo says, how do I upload my team? Just send a screenshot to the chat. What's your view on getting cheap defensive mids instead of attacking mids? Seems like they're getting more points, like Enzo or Rice. I think Rice is not as attacking as Enzo. But yeah, I think mid-priced mids in general are getting a lot of attention for good reason. I mean, they're pretty good for DEFCON and they also get the odd attacking return now and then. I just think for someone like Enzo, the main appeal is also that he's playing the attacking midfield role for Chelsea with fixtures that are really good. So Shihadan says, thank you, Consult. Nothing in the bank, want to do but can't stretch. Okay. Awesome. I think you skipped my team by accident. I'm the one who said not a wild card. I think I did answer that though. Let me just have a look. Wait, Saka plus Eze better than double defense? No, I think double defense is better. Bruno and Gyökeres to Saka and Bowen or Mateta. I don't think I will give Gyökeres a few weeks, but Bruno to Saka if you can afford with funds from elsewhere, I don't mind it. Foden against Everton or trade him for Semenyo against Palace. Already have Reinders and Haaland. I mean, selling Foden against Everton is not super ideal, but Semenyo is just in such good form right now. You could either do it this week or next week. I think Foden against Everton is fine, but and the fact is that Semenyo plays against Crystal Palace and the defense is pretty okay. So you could either do it this week or next week. It's quite close. It's quite close. Would I do it this week or next week? I think I'd be tempted to take a chance on Foden against Everton. He's a bit more of a differential. If Semenyo starts to blank in 8, then maybe you get a bit of an advantage there. All right, so let me just have a look. You said not a wild card. Okay, I think I did have a look at that team though. Let me just check. Not a wild card. Pretty far back already. Not this week. Oh, where is it though? I'll try to find it once more. Wildcard active. Okay. If I can't find it, just drop it in there. I'll reply it directly. Okay, let's do a last one. Right, so using a wildcard in game week 8, does this team look okay? I wouldn't have Raya and Pope. I think there's a bit too much money in goal. Van de Ven, again, I mean, I don't see the appeal of going for Van de Ven right now when Spurs fixtures moving forward are not as good. Chalobah is okay. Kehi, Rodon, Senesi is fine. You've chosen to go for double Arsenal attack. I think, if that's your choice, that's okay. Jadon Anthony, again, I wouldn't go for. And João Palhinha, I think there's better midfielders around that price range. Like even Reinders is better than Palhinha. I think you could go for, if you could stretch, to maybe Caicedo, 5.6. Reinders, 5.6. I think Caicedo's 5.7. Apologies. And then Paqueta, 5.9. I'll probably go to those ranges. And then up front, João Pedro, Haaland, Gyökeres. I mean, you see, because you've gone for Gyökeres, that you had to take some money out of your midfield. And I also see that you have 0.0 million in the bank. So it does stretch your budget a little bit. So yeah, in fact, I think like Anthony and João Palhinha, you could probably just go for like a Xhaka at 5 mil. And then the other one could stretch up to a Paqueta or a Caicedo or even a Reinders. All right. I've seen it. Okay, not a wild card. Let me just have a look at this team. This is a roll, and you start João Pedro ahead of Gakpo probably. This is a roll. Yes, this is a roll. All right. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Again, I come back to the team. This is for now how the draft looks like. I will be posting a video sometime on Monday or Tuesday to update you guys on how my wildcard looks like. But at least for now, this is the team. And again, if you have any questions as well, just feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll be in there. And yeah, thank you all of you guys for tuning in for about an hour or so. And yeah, appreciate all of you coming down on a week that it isn't an FPL deadline. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun, right, chatting FPL with you guys and also rating all your drafts. So thank you for sending them in. Continue to send them in if you want me to have a look. If not, I think I'll leave this stream here for today, and I will catch you guys in the next video, either Monday or Tuesday. All right, I'll leave it at that. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.